It's August 29th, 2024. This is patch 30.2.2, and we're just going to quickly go over all the changes that are related to Battlegrounds only. Okay, first change, it looks like they've reduced the turn timer for trinkets. They've been around for a while. They're expecting us to know most of them, and they're not going to give us the extra turn time for those turns. Looks like they've buffed this hero power. Instead of it being 30 tiers worth of cards, now it's only 25. So that's a nice buff. Looks like they've done some changes to the cost of the trinkets. Most of the trinkets have been decreased in gold cost by 1. It looks like Rock and Music now also gives you a Battlecry minion right away, instead of having to wait to the next turn for your first one. So instead of having a decreased cost, it's actually increasing in cost, but it's giving you a lot more value. Huge cost reduction to Quillgraphy set. Went from 5 gold to only 2 gold, but now it's Avenge 5, and it only buffs the health instead of the attack and the health. So nothing, only a couple of major changes there. Most of the trinkets have just been decreased by 1 gold. A couple have been increased by 1 gold if they thought it was too powerful. Now into greater trinkets. Mentium chest has gotten a major change. It went from 0 gold to 3 gold. Instead of gaining 1 gold after 3 pirates, you gain it after every 2 pirates. So increased cost up front, but you end up with more gold in the long run. Major buff to Spite Skill Sushi Roll. Got a major buff. Decreased cost, and it also makes it have the first 2 spellcrafts instead of just the first spellcraft. Major buff to the Light Fang Greater Trinket. It went from being 7 gold to only 1, and no nerf to it, just simply a big cost reduction. So that must have been underpowered a little bit before. Nerf to Blood Golem sticker. Instead of it spawning 3 of them, now it only spawns 2, but you do get a 1 gold discount. The Rivendare portrait got a nerf here. Instead of being stealth, it instead has double the health. This is going to make it a lot easier to kill it. Felbat portrait is now 9 gold instead of 7. Basically a whole turn now. Looks like most of the greater trinkets are getting a 1 or 2 gold increase when they didn't get any, if there's no major changes to it. Now we're going to move on to the minion changes. Looks like Light Fang has been buffed from a 6/6 to an 8/6. It also gives 4/3 stats instead of 3/3 stats. Snail Cavalry got a nerf from being a 2/3 to a 2/2. Slight buff to Zesty Shaker from a 5/4 to a 6/6. Looks like Crow's Nest Sentry got a slight buff overall. It now gives your pirates +4 health, but it has 1 less attack as a minion. Ice Fisher got a interesting change. It went from being a tier 6 8/8 to a tier 5 2/2 with the same effect as before. Cruise Control got a slight buff. It gets 1 extra attack to the minion, and it also gives more attack, +1 attack on the Death Rattle. Thunder Abomination got a slight buff. It has +1 attack to the actual unit, and the buffs are now +1 attack as well for both itself and to the other unit. Bountiful Bedrock got a nerf from a 4/3 to a 2/2. Same effect as before. Ancestral Automation got a nerf. It now gains 2/1 stats instead of 3/2 stats. Wannabe Gargoyle got a buff from a 5/1 to a 9/1 starting stat. Hunter Gatherers got I would say a buff overall. Going from tier 5 to tier 4 is a pretty big change, and it loses only 1 health. Channel the Devourer got a slight buff, being moved from a tier 6 to a tier 5 spell. Looks like they've done some armor changes. Not going to really go through that, but I'll scroll down here so if you want to take a look at it. And these ones have less armor now. Overall, not too many crazy changes in this patch, just some slight changes to make the meta more in a more balanced direction. The biggest changes in my opinion are probably the Ancestral Automation not being able to scale quite as fast, and I think Light Fang might actually be a little bit more viable now with the increased stats on it and the cheaper trinket. I also think having 1 less Blood Golem could be a pretty big change. If you want more details on this, I'll put the link in the description. That's it for now. See you guys later.